Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts, Brandon, Colin, and Aaron. On this week's show, sometimes you're Theoden. Ahoy.
Ahoy.
How are you?
Pretty good, I think. How are you?
Well,
that time of year where you have to sort of stop and assess. Like, am I okay? I think so. Like, I don't know.
No.
Because, like, all the days are the same, and you're just like, what? Where am I? What's that?
Yeah. I know, I totally understand. No, it's been interesting. We've been we're getting thrown into another chaos with some staff changes and stuff. It never ends, literally never ends. That's fine. It's part of what we signed up for. We didn't, but it's fine. It's one of those. So I had hoped that the weekend after we are done with Aaron's upcoming nuptials that I would just be able to drive back home. But no. That Monday is when I need to start taking over visits for a staff member who's leaving. So I'm just going to stay in good old Queen City for a bit.
Oh, dang it. Like,
yeah.
It's so close. And yet, so far.
So close. So close. So, just is what it is. Because of the nature of this, like, I'm expecting to be gone for a minute until we can get this covered. We're obviously, having the ad out there and everything, but it's approaching almost a full-time position. It's not 40 hours, but like sometimes it's like 30 hours, like pretty solid a week. And so that's a lot to cover. So that takes a little bit longer to fill than somebody who just wants to pick up 5 hours of work on the weekends or in the evenings. So this takes our timeline of like projects the family wanted to accomplish and really truncates it to 2 weeks. Like, basically, if it's not done by the first,
oh no.
Who knows when it's going to get done? Like, who knows? So been trying to first identify everything of like, what did we want to actually do? Like, what was on our plate, expectations, and then going realistically, what's going to happen? And one of those today was like, it's going to be kind of cold the next several days and this weekend. So I need to power wash. That's what I should do. I should power wash today. That'd be a great use of my time. I'll just go out, I'll start up the power washer, and we'll just go do that. Right. Well, so the way the power washer works is it has a little feeder bin that you can pour like soap or detergent or something to boost the power of your power washing. And I had done this last year when power washing our deck to get off, because I hadn't power washed it since we had moved in. It really needed to be done. It's kind of mildewy in areas and whatever. So I had added the soap to it, and it has a little knob on it. And basically, when you open that knob, it drips out so that as the water is passing through it, it picks up this detergent little by little and blasts it out. Well, that little knob. Okay, but that's not explaining this very well. But like, it's this little hopper for extra soap, and it's not attached to the intake. It's put on the outflow of it, so it kind of gets sucked out as it's being used, so that the detergent or whatever isn't going around the inside of the machine. Well, this little thing was left open for a year and a half.
Oh no! Now it's full of spiders.
No, it's not full of spiders.
It's just full of spiders.
But the internal mechanism is now full of rust because it did not get emptied all the way. And so it just sat with water just sitting on this for a year and some change.
Oh no.
And so now I have to I have to figure out like, can I dissolve this with like CLR? Can I chisel my way through this?
It's a good first step, right?
Yes.
Like,
yeah, gotta just soak it, right? And then it's like, then I'm thinking, can I just buy this one little piece to replace? Or
probably not. That's
probably not. Zero. I have so that was a lot of fun because I was like, oh great, I've got like, this won't take any time. Well, obviously nothing happened, and now I'm frustrated because I'm like, dang it, nothing happened. Literally nothing happened today.
Oh
no.
man.
Yeah, it's just one of those thwarted by rust. For sure. Which but other than that, that was my highlight of the day. Which I don't know if it's a highlight, but
low light you have there. Like,
but it happened, right? It certainly happened. That's for sure.
Yes. Ugh. Ugh, ugh, ugh.
But I had
it's always those like little things that just like thwart you, right? There's always some like really little inconsequential thing that you never noticed or didn't know existed, and that is just your downfall, right? It's just the it's like the dumbest thing in the history of the universe, and now your day is completely ruined because like literally nothing will work now because this one thing is broken.
Because it's impossible. Yeah.
Well, I mean, terrible.
I shared with you my escapade to try and change out our faucets, right?
That was a very confusing time. I didn't know that sinks were this complicated.
Yeah, me neither.
Me too. I mean, why? Why? How?
Oh, I was, it was so bizarre how this entire thing happened, right? We were just like, oh, well, this sink broke, which was weird to begin with. Like, it was leaking from inside the faucet. Like, it wasn't an external hose connecting from the bottom. It was like inside the metal area was where water was leaking from. It was like, well, I'm not fixing that. Like,
was it like it wasn't like the handle or whatever? Because that sometimes like wears out. That valve that opens and closes just like bonks out and it won't work anymore. And like when you turn it on, water just comes out of weird places. Like, well, it wasn't that. It was like just in the.
It was some part of like internal structure, because it probably was the handle, but even when it was shut, it was leaking, and I couldn't get up into.
Well, I mean, if that thing isn't closing right, then it is going to leak, because that's like the handle acts as the valve.
Right.
Open and let water in, because the water is always there. Like, there's always water pressure on the back end. When you open the faucet, then it's letting the water through. So if that was worn out in there, that seal and stuff just like breaks down.
So I'm pretty sure that's what it was, but I couldn't.
It's almost like water is the universal solvent or something.
Yeah,
weird.
It does weird things. But I couldn't get to that, and it wasn't the way the old one was constructed. Like, I couldn't get into the internal bits of this. Like, I couldn't disassemble anything, and then I was like, what am I gonna do, find a replacement part for this? So anyway, we decided we were gonna do those, and then turns out like, it didn't change, but we wanted something different, and every other metal surface in the bathroom is a brushed surface, but the previous faucets that we were replacing were like a chrome. And so we thought, well, we'll get this. Like, this is what we need. We'll get this brushed. So technically that didn't really change anything, but it meant that I definitely had to change the tail piece or whatever it is, that pipe that exits down to the bottom of the drain. That was the other part of this. Trying to explain.
Dude, that thing is awful. Like, that thing is the monster.
Yes.
The little inset thing.
Yes.
I hate that. Like,
yes.
I have a side note about that here in a minute. Go ahead. That's
developed well. So, we bought one. We bought one set, and we were like, okay, this is fine. This will work. We get it there. We pulled it out of the box, and I was immediately like, this thing is super lightweight. It's mega cheap. The faucet itself. And I was like, there's no way I'm installing this. Like I cannot abide by this. So went back, bought something better. And while we were there, that's when we were like, well, we have to replace 2 because it's a double vanity. So I have to buy 2. But the one downstairs is also the same make and model.
So might as while I'm here.
And we should change that one because that way they'll match. But then we were like, but that sink is also like super tiny. So we didn't want to get the same one because our faucets basically just go kind of straight out and over. We wanted to have something with a bit more rise to it.
Yeah, because getting your hands under there is impossible. I don't know who thought that was a good idea.
So
I don't even have like really big hands, but like, it's the worst.
So if you have a deep basin, it's kind of fine. But if you have a shallow or small sink, it becomes ridiculous. So our downstairs one,
because even though like, you like hit your hands on the back of you're trying to like wash your hands, you're just like punching the back of the sink, right? It's a whole I don't.
So we bought one with more rise. I'm trying to describe all this with terms that I have no idea what I'm doing. Like I'm just like, ooh, this one's pretty.
Are these the official terms?
No, right. They are now. And we got that one. We came in, and I was like, fine, great. This is what we're doing. We're replacing these faucets, and then I start tearing one apart, and when the piece that goes down, that tail piece, I tried to get it out correctly, but while I was screwing it, the entire sink disconnected from the surface of the counter. It just went punk, like it just popped right out.
Your caulking seal just like shot, right? That's
yes. Yeah. But again, the bathroom was redone like 15 years ago before we bought the house. So like I understand. So I'm like, well, now I have another project. And the thing is that like I'm standing there and I'm like, well, I'll go ahead. That's fine. Like I had actually kind of wanted to try and do this anyway at some point when we were painting the bathroom, and I didn't. So now I've got to scrape off all the old stuff. Oh, and the other thing that they did was at every possible point in the connections and whatever, they had crammed it full of plumber's putty. Crammed it every nook, which is
want it to leak, right?
Fine, but like it was like up in everything. But 15, 20-year-old plumber's putty, let me tell you, it's just dust. It's awful. So it's getting everywhere. No. It is. It's just crumbling to pieces. It's everywhere in the bathroom and breaking off. Meanwhile, I'm scraping off the old adhesive and caulking, and it's going everywhere. And then I'm like, oh, I'll just go grab I actually have the wrong caulk to make this work, because the one I have is actually for just like trimming around doors, like interior doors, so that you can paint on it. I need to have a silicone based one,
actual adhesive,
and actually adhesive. So I have to. So now I'm like, okay, I've got to go.
No, back he goes.
Back we go. And then I realized, well, actually, like I don't have plumber's putty, so I also need to get plumber's putty at this point. So I'm buying the adhesive caulk and the silicone so that I can get it sucked in, and then got to get the plumber's putty. And then we come back, and I'm able to finally break over the tailpiece on its way out, which was fine anyway, because that little ring at the bottom I had to create, it was chrome, but I had to replace it to be brushed metal. But also, while I'm replacing it, the original tailpiece that was installed was like brass and metal and really nice. And the one I'm installing in is like plastic. Even it's frustrating to me. It's like, even though what I bought was like a very expensive faucet, it's just everything is plastic now, and whatever, it's fine.
That's how they are.
Just how they are. Well,
which makes getting it back in real annoying, because like when you have to, you're talking about the stopper piece at the bottom.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so yes, we're going to use the word stopper now because tailpiece confuses me. And it'll probably confuse the Lowe's person as well.
Well, no, real quick. I had to replace not just the stopper, but the entire drain pipe that goes
the
down.
stopper housing. Yes.
Housing.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Stopper housing and pipe, whatever.
Yeah. Housing. Okay. There you go. These are official terms. Our dad's an engineer. It's fine. We know some things. It's
not a lot.
That's true. Not a lot. But yeah, getting that thing to go in there and then like hook up properly how you want to the handle that moves the plunger that's horrid. Yeah. Right? Because if you don't get in the right spot, if you move the handle up, it just drops back down. And you can't get it won't stay closed.
And flash forward, because that comes at the end where like I like the little lever that you pull up and down to kind of have, I like a long throw. I don't know what that's called. I don't like the short where you jerk it up 13 centimeters and it stops and then it just goes like, I don't like that. I like a plunge up, plunge down. Like it needs to be lackadaisical. So that took me a while to figure out. But that piece for that whole housing, that was metal and brass with the old one. It's plastic now. I get the sink put on. I get the housing installed. I get the little ring in. I get the caulking around the edge. I get it set down. And I'm like, great. Now I can connect it to the rest of the. Oh, crap! It was 3 inches too tall.
Oh no!
So it was 3 inches before it could connect with the rest of the existing. So back to
ours.
Lowe's. Anyway,
ours has this like okay. So I'm gonna attempt to describe this. I had to. All right. So as a person, with a beard, right? They're like the soaps and things that you use for this process can be they're very like gummy. Yeah. So like my sink was having a problem being gummed, right? And so I was like, I put the Drano down there and it would work for a while and then it would just like not work. So you could tell something worse was happening. So I was like, okay, I'm going to rip this plunger out of here and I'm going to like clean out this pipe. First of all, it was disgusting. Okay. It was horrible. But the process of getting that thing out is so maddening, right? Because you have affixed to the handle that runs under the sink. There's like a vertical wire that comes off of that thing, right? And then there's that stupid horizontal piece that goes from there and then like through that little thing in the pipe that hooks internally to the plunger. Getting that thing out is a pain. And like the way that it's attached, the way that mine is attached, it looks like 2 pieces of erector set.
Yes.
Is that what yours is too? I didn't know if all of them were like this or just mine. No. It's like 2 erector set pieces that you have to like hold together and then to take the tension off to slide that horizontal bar out of there. And it is the most frustrating thing. And mine try to be like, get it in, because if it's not just the right amount of tension, like nothing will move.
No, you'd be throwing it for days.
And it's just mine had firmly affixed.
And mine had the little tension clip that was supposed to be like one on the inside, and you put the stuff in the middle, and one on the outside to hold it onto that little lever that goes up and down that goes into the pipe. I had a weird like it looked like a hair clip or like a barrette, bent over thing that had to have the right tension on it, and that was positioned in the right spot.
Oh yeah,
getting that in there, was just ridiculous. Of it was so exact, but also all these pieces are just laughable. Of there's an erector set, and then there's a thumb screw that you got to put here, and then this goes up, and they just say attach it.
That thumb screw is a lie. I had to drop everything and two-hand that monster and break that thing because that's the seal. That thing needs to be screwed down tight because that's the thing that the bar goes from outside the pipe through that little hole to the inside of the pipe, and then there's it's got a big ball on the end of it to stop everything, but it was very. I mean, you're already wedged into a very great tightness under the sink anyway.
Oh,
And then you have to like try to rip it. Like, it's not a good angle to get a lot of good leverage to turn a bolt, especially
about it.
one that is. It's basically like a wing nut, right? But it's
Yeah.
a plastic wing nut that you're afraid to break, and you have to get you can't get good leverage on it.
No. And you just have your dad's voice in the back of your head being like, don't over tighten this. Don't over tighten this. Don't over tighten this.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh,
no.
Like, well, maybe I just, so yeah. So I had to go back to Lowe's to get a little extender piece to go down from that main drain pipe that comes from the bottom of the bowl down. And before it hits the U curve or whatever that is, the trap, right?
I was the U-bend thingy.
U-bend. Yeah. I was 3 inches too tall to hit the trap. And so I was like,
oh, no.
Dang it. So I had to go back and I'm like, hey, I need to find this extender piece. And then I did the thing that I remembered while I was there of I should have taken a picture of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the words.
I don't know the technical term for this. Yeah.
To talk to people. And man, what a gentleman there he really tried his best, but he thought I was talking about a kitchen sink for a while. And that's a whole other set. Just so that you are aware, kitchen sink measurements are based off of the exterior dimensions, but the bathroom sink are measured on the interior dimensions. So the same.
I did not. I was unaware of this fact.
As was I. Because the same piece.
Some useful information for the people. There you go.
I know. Where the same piece.
You weren't expecting useful information today, were you?
Same piece. The same box would have kitchen and bathroom, and they would have different measurements on them, and that would
oh no,
broke my brain because I was like, I don't know I'm in a bathroom, but I don't know what's going on. And finally, I found and I just needed 3 inches, and everything else is everything else is these accordions that can extend and bend and everything. And then I'm trying to remember the male to female piece, and I got the screw thing, and I need the gasket and blah, blah. I was like, there's got to be a super simple thing to make this work, right? There has to be. And it was in one box way over in a section that I wasn't looking at, and I found it. And then I was staring there going, well, this is for this sink. I have 2 more sinks to do. Do I think that I'm going to need this item for the other 2? Because also before I left, I did not I have not looked at those other 2 sinks at all. I have no idea what they're like underneath there.
Oh no.
Again, bad on me. So I was like, well, I'm not coming back here today, so I bought 3 of these things. And I was like, oh, if I don't it, so I,
boom,
came back, got it installed, got everything screwed on, and that works fine. Moved to the next one, and it ran like a breeze. And I did not need the extender, which was totally fine.
Good.
Went to the bathroom one. Got it installed. It was a little different, just for a couple other reasons, because it's a really, really small vanity, really small vanity. And so you talk about being cramped. I was having to remove doors. I thought about trying to drill in from the side and all this stuff to get in there. And they were using non-standard connections for this thing. Of course, right?
Naturally.
So I was just oh my gosh. And while I was in there,
standard connections are for weenies.
Totally hard. Totally. I was like, well, I'm in here. I'm going to re-caulk all of this stuff. So I was caulking around pipes and things and whatever to get it to seal it. And it was that went off without a hitch. But then, of course, once I get everything installed, what's running through my mind? When is it going to start leaking? Because I didn't tighten it, or I over tightened something, right? That's all I have been obsessed with over the last 5 days of
oh no.
So I've been obsessively obsessively opening up the cabinet drawers and like running my hand underneath to see if there's any water there, and like feeling pipes and things and seeing if there's any moisture on anything.
Oh my goodness.
Because that's the thing of like 2 of the 3 weren't broken, and I changed them.
Yeah.
So like,
did you?
Did I break them
in the process of fixing it?
Oh. Oh my gosh.
That is always a worry, right? Like, that is the fear. Like, well, it was fine, but then I futzed with it, and now maybe it's not fine anymore.
Maybe it's not fine anymore. And I so that's what was that's been on my brain since I got these installed, and they're fine, they're working great, but also like,
yeah, for now, like,
yeah, when, and I know that you can't walk through life just being like, when are they going to fail? But also like,
I mean, yeah,
when are they going to fail? But like, when?
Yeah, it's like you shouldn't, but you do. You can't help it sometimes, right? It's like, what's gonna go wrong? Yeah, I had a similar experience about 6 months ago, trying to take that thing out of my sink. Oh, yeah. Like, I can fix this. And I did, but I underestimated the amount of time that it would take me to do so.
Right.
It's like, dang it. I have done a bad. I don't know.
Yeah, well, because then, I was like, I've watched a YouTube video. So that's what I did. I watched a YouTube video about that, and I was like, this won't take any time at all. Like, this is, I have this wrench. Like, I need one thing. I need this one wrench, and I won't need to do anything else. Well, that was not true. So, and then I was like, well, I didn't want to spend 6 hours of my day futzing with all this stuff. Like, that's not what I wanted.
Yes, but you ended up doing that anyway.
Boy, howdy, I did. And I laid on a heating pad that night because
I bet,
because that's the other thing of like, I can lay on my back, but also like the 3-inch
not for
lip,
that long.
Well, and the lip to go up into it, where you're like, oh, my back is not supposed to be in this position. Like this actively is. I'm actively in pain right
now. Yeah, true.
Like, oh no.
Yeah, it's not gone well.
It's,
I think I had this idea just while you were talking right now. I think that this is Dad's second career. Dad needs to be just a YouTube guy that just shows people how to fix random junk.
Oh gosh,
because I feel like this is his calling, right? This is what.
And
it's
best that he's not in the room with them to yell at them whenever they do it wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, they could just rewind it.
Yeah, you can just peacefully walk through the process. I had that moment of like,
be very zen for him. Like,
yes,
we'll do
yes. And look, you can just look. You're gonna just go slowly, and you're gonna appreciate the threading on this. And we're not going to cross thread.
Oh yeah.
Like of that. It is.
I'm gonna bring that up to him this weekend.
I think he'll really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
I think he'll be like, "Shut up!" And I think you're right.
Yeah. Like, I don't have time for that. I have snakes in lilac bushes to deal with. I have to
fend them. That thing was humongous.
Do you remember he did something about
listeners for context before we go on. Randomly, again, my dad Colin takes after our father with pictures with no context, and he just sent a picture that says "made a new friend today," and it is the biggest black snake you've ever seen in your life.
It was quite magical.
This bush side of the outside of his kitchen window.
Oh. Well, and
he goes, "Here's my new friend." Oh my! It's enormous. This thing is every bit of 2 inches thick. It's huge. It's so fat. Oh my God.
Yes, it is. And that first picture that he sent was through the screen and it was blurry. And so it took me a minute to figure out what he was trying to focus on because it was like no context. It was
that was a very large blob in the tree.
Well, that was what I was like looking at the tree and I was like, what is he? And then I was like, oh no.
Oh my God.
That's a lot. Yeah. So he's actually
crazy.
He actually, the air conditioners out there sit on a slab of concrete and he was like paranoid about snakes getting in there. So he took like, I don't know, 5 of those spray cans that have the expandable foam that you're supposed to use for insulation in your house and just like, stuck them all underneath there and pulled the nozzles at the same time to try and fill that void with foam so that the snakes couldn't live underneath there anymore.
Listeners, guess where the snake's living?
Yeah.
That's right. It's under the concrete slab.
It did not help at all, right? Like it's
That's hilarious. I didn't know he did that. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, the dog used to dig around back there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, and lay in that corner. And we used to hide in that corner because those bushes, there was another bush there. So it was like much bigger in the spring and summer when it was all filled out.
Yes.
And so we would hide back there. The dog would hide back there. So the rocks and stuff got kind of excavated accidentally. Accidental excavation, right?
As they do.
Happen.
As they
yeah, the thing was monstrous. I was like, oh my God, what in the world? Today he went outside to see it, which is surprising because our father does not love snakes at all. So he was maybe he felt confident it was in the tree.
I think because he saw it from the tree in the from the kitchen window, and then he was like went out quickly so that it could be in the tree so he would know its location. Basically, like, okay, yes, I know where it is. I can scurry outside, and I will keep an eye on it, and I will continue to keep an eye on it while I'm doing this.
That's insane. It's so big.
It was a big thing. I'm excited to see it. I think. I don't know, but
I think.
But I had a very interesting conversation today, and about with a person who does research on generational differences and communication issues in the workforce. And
what a research topic.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes. Yeah. So here he started doing research because he wanted to see if these assumptions were true. And
if the memes were real. Like
yes, if the memes were real. And it's very interesting because he has reached a point in his career where he's like, you know what? I'm no longer interested if these differences are real or not. They are perceived by individuals. So how do we deal with those perceptions and biases that people have? Right? Like, and that's where he comes from with this. It's like,
that's a very sociological thing to say.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, where he was like, look, it doesn't matter if the differences exist. He goes, I no longer care about that. I just want to know, what do we do with those perceptions? Because if they're not real and it doesn't
matter because people think they are.
Right. No, that's what he's saying, of like, it doesn't matter if they're real or not. People think they are, and they're acting in a certain way in accordance with those assumptions. So that's actually where we need to approach this.
Yes.
And I had reached out to this person to do this interview because I hear so many people who are hiring or dealing with stuff of the younger generations don't want to work, or nobody has any work ethic anymore, or they don't know how to communicate, or it's their problem. Or there are younger people who are in a business and they're trying to hire and they don't want to hire older people because they're fuddy-duddies, or they're not going to change or adapt, or they're not going to do what they want to, or they're not going to respect them, or like, people are bringing these huge amounts of assumptions into their workplace, and then they're like, well, nobody's sticking around. Why? That must be their problem, not mine, obviously, because I'm perfect. And I was like, yeah, I need to find somebody who does research on this and can talk about it. And that was like his opening line of like, look, it's not them. It's most likely you. You need to change yourself.
Boom, got him. There
I was like, well, anyway, I'll just close this up. So
yeah, good interview. Okay.
Right. And it was an interesting interview. He very straightforward to the point. Not the typical academic kind of person who would just sit there and wax, eloquently about things or whatever. He's just like, yep, this is this, and this is what you do.
Literally philosophically, right? Like,
yes, exactly. Yeah, literally. Yeah, and be like, yeah, this is what we found. This is what you do with it. And he works in most of the stuff that he gets called in to do is like supply chain, manufacturing, communication, conflict resolution stuff. And so this was when I reached out to him to do the interview, he was kind of like, yeah, that's kind of weird, but I'm game. And one of his books is actually titled Leadership in Middle Earth, taking leadership lessons from the world of Tolkien.
I like it.
And he also had what was the pun that he used in another book where it was like communicating with the Force, and talking about communication tactics and styles from people in Star Wars. He's like this huge nerd, and in my office where I'm doing the recording, I have the for Christmas, Dad got me a Tolkien calendar, and it's right. It's visible in my shot, and within like I don't know a couple minutes, he was like, What's that calendar behind you? What's that? Is that Bad Winds? Or is that?
You're like, maybe.
Right.
What's it to you?
So that was.
I feel that, right. Some days, you really want to be Gandalf, but it turns out you're Theoden, right? That's just. That's a hard pill to swallow, right? You want to be Gandalf. You have good intentions of being Gandalf. By the end of the day, you realize that you've been Theoden all day, and you're like, "Oh no,
yeah,
that's not good. That's not
like, oh no, oh no,
oh no, I'm so sorry." I mean, this is a very important thing to think about when teaching, though, as well, right? Yeah. I had this conversation with some of my kids the other day because they come and they complain about everything because they're sixth graders and that's what they do. But
sure.
We've talked a few times about like, all right, look, when you're talking to people like adults, right? Some of them are going to like not understand where you're coming from, right? It's difficult for them. As like, it's hard for me some days, but as a person who spends almost every day around a 12-year-old, like I understand more about like the way that you say things, right? Right. We're talking about like talking and like the way that they come across, right? So I was like, I understand that you are not sitting there going like, yes, I will now be disrespectful to Mr. Funkhausen, right? You're not saying that. That's not what you're doing. You're just talking or behaving in the way that a current 12-year-old talks and behaves, right? Other people to other people who are like used to different things, like they perceive that as being disrespectful,
right?
And then like both of you get like all offended, right? Because they think you're being disrespectful, and then you get offended by it, and then you like say something back, and they think it's even worse, right? So like we've had this conversation a few times about how they address people sometimes, like like we have to be more cautious with our word choices and like what we say to people, because like they don't mean to come across like a certain way. but it's perceived by the other side as like being disrespectful or like a hateful comment or something, when it's just them like not being as funny as they think they are. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like, you know, that's just how it is.
Yeah, where it is, and that is a big part of it. But that's with any relationship, you know, of going. At some point, I have to assume that the person I'm talking to or interacting with is not trying to be a jerk, like actively. Like sometimes they are. That's totally. We've all been in that. We've all been in those situations, but
you can tell by their body posture, though. A lot of times, right? Like
there's a lot of other signals that they're sending you.
Yeah.
Right. So putting that good faith in the other person of like, okay, like what, like they're trying, like what do I need to do? Like, how do I adapt this? And that can become exhausting though. Like, I know from people who can go like, oh, so you mean I always have to be the one who's thinking about that? It's like, yeah. Yes, actually. I mean,
sometimes it depends on the environment, right? I mean, if you're just like buying groceries and you encounter somebody else who is buying groceries, like you can just leave. Like,
shock, what?
But yeah, you could just be like, whatever, bro, and walk away. Like, you don't have to do anything. You can like literally leave, right? Like,
yeah.
But sometimes, yes, you do have to be in that position of like, oh, and like I told them too, you know, I tell them like, do I always remember this? No. Right. No. Do I fail sometimes? Yes, of course I do. But like, I try to keep in mind, like, you are 12, so you're just ridiculous, right? Like, I just know this.
And it's okay. Right. Yeah.
And it's fine. It's only going to get worse from here. So it's going to. But yeah, that is, people don't want to do that, right? They don't want to say like, oh, I have to put in all the effort all the time. Like, I mean, kind of, if you want to be the better person, like you don't have to, but like you could also be a jerk, I guess.
If that's something that you're just dying to do, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, but if you're like in a management position, you know, kind of your deal is to facilitate and communicate effectively with people. So
which means taking into account communication styles, experiences, you know, feelings, how people respond, and it's just, that's where the communicating at the personal level is so important, and not just going like, well, this person is 12, so I'm going to speak to every 12-year-old ever like this because that's what's important, right? Like, but people get caught up with that, and especially with the way our business is run, where it's we have zero face-to-face interaction going. All of my communication with all of my staff is text. It's literally text within our app. We don't do emails.
Yeah.
We have Slack to communicate and share funny photos. But if I have to ask them a question, it's going to go through our software, which comes as a text to their phone. So we have to be hyper aware of like how we phrase things, how we respond, like the kind of, you know, how we sign off, all of these things, and know that, you know, and set some of those communication expectations with staff as well, of going like, look, this is how we communicate. Yeah. And this is how we expect you to communicate back with us. Like that's what that helps with too.
Well, I mean, you also do have to lay that groundwork. You have to say like, okay, and this is where I've maybe not done such a great job this year, right? I'll admit that. Like, you have to set that, like, you have to say these things, and then you have to like create this environment where like, if I say something to you, and like, this needs to be a safe environment where you can come back to me and be like, hey, I didn't understand that. What did you mean? Like, and like, you know, just like be able to ask, or like, hey, you know, this is, or the other thing is like, be able to say like, this is what I need to be successful, right? I need you to know that about myself, right? And being able to put yourself out there in the environment. And that's like a terrifying thing to do because people don't like to do that because, they've had a lot of bad experiences. And there are some people who are like, if you say that, they're just like, well, too bad. That get and leave. You don't fit here, right? And so that's a scary thing to do. But like having that environment to be like, oh, I communicate this way. This is how I feel about this, or like I work. This is some effective working strategies for myself are this. And then being able to just have that heard by somebody is good, right? Yeah. Having somebody being willing to listen to that and not just like write you off and be like, well, it sounds like you don't fit in here because that's not how we do things. It's not helpful, right? Like, so just like creating that, it's like a safe environment kind of thing, like a space where people are like, okay, they're comfortable with like, it's like it makes it slightly more give and take. Like you say, okay, these are our expectations. And then they can say, here's how I function the best. How does this fit into your expectations? And then you can have that conversation of like, oh, okay, here we go, blah, blah, blah. Right.
Yeah.
That is a good environment. And that's the thing that not a lot of people, but that is a thing that some people find hard to do is like give and take back. Right. Because they just think like, well, I'm the boss. So there. Right.
Oh.
Like,
oh, it really, and we had that kind of thrown in our face where we tried to send out quarterly surveys to both clients and staff to just ask relevant information from them and how we're doing. And the last quarterly surveys that we sent out, we got some feedback that said, do you feel comfortable going and talking to management? I mean, us, like whatever. But we had like 2 responses that said no. And I was like, oh, no, like, okay, like, wow, like that's why, like, what am I doing? Because on one hand, it's like, well, I say, oh, open door, come talk to me, or I'll do this, or I'm, any questions? You have any questions? And but how am I had to really think about of how I was responding to questions when they were asked, or how I phrased things, or how I brought up issues, or how I handled issues when they were brought to me, and realized of going, okay, I'm actually, by how I respond back to them, I'm actually communicating to them that this is annoying to me, or I don't have time for this, which means I don't have time for you. So stop talking to me about this. Like being hyper aware of that in the context, and not being afraid to go, hey, I'm really stressed out right now, and I have a response to this. It's probably be a bit shorter than I would normally respond to, and send that, right, to give them some context with some of those things. That is a lot of work, but it's so beneficial. And like you said, to go at the very beginning going, here's how I communicate. Here are our expectations. How do you communicate? What are your expectations? And because that's boring. That doesn't, like, because then, you have to go, well, oh, they want me to communicate like that? Well, that's not how I communicate. So they'll just have to, like you said, like, well, they'll just have to suck it up. Well, you're not going to have that person around for a long time.
You also can't like completely like, but there has to be an understanding, right? Like you don't have to, like you can't like just necessarily like change everything that you do to fit like one person, right? That's
a good point
either,
right?
But you just have to be aware of it, right? Like be aware, like okay, maybe they need extra this, or maybe they need extra that, or something like that. Like it's a hard thing to. It depends on the very specific situations as well. Like talking in general terms, like this is difficult on this subject, but like
what?
Just being aware of it.
Broad generalizations.
Oh wait, that's true. It's 2023. We only speak in generalization. That's how it works.
I know. It's so freeing.
That's
finally.
Yes. But like at least be aware, I guess, and it is hard, right? Like I said, I've struggled this year with that at work too, right? It's been difficult for me for a very veritable number of reasons, but like it's been a little difficult, but so maybe I should probably try more next year, I guess. And the rest of this year, obviously, I'm not going to like just give up.
Phone it in. Say, well, I screwed up with all of you all.
To do. We have things to do. Darn it. We got.
Yeah, how have you you've been sciencing? How have you done? You haven't done any debates yet, have you? Or are you still working up to those?
We're doing it tomorrow. Round one
Round
tomorrow.
ding ding.
Yes. Ding ding. Tomorrow. See how it goes. We've been working on it this week. Some of them look pretty good. I don't, because this is the first time I've ever done it and we're just sort of winging it. I told them that too. I was like, I don't know. They're like, how long will this be? I was like, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know how many days you'll need. I don't know what this looks like. I don't know how many days it will take us to present, because we can't debate. My class time in the afternoon is only like 30 minutes. Right.
Oh.
So we cannot debate 3 topics in one class time. Right. So I'm not really sure. I think we'll probably do one topic per day. Right. That's what I'm sort of envisioning, because I was going to give them time between rounds to prepare responses where they can like work with their team and prepare responses, like prepare their rebuttals.
Yeah.
So I'll probably give them some time at the beginning. I'll give them time between the first and second round. I'll probably give them a little bit of time between the second and third round, so they can do like a hybridized like second rebuttal closing argument, right? And then whatever time we have left, we might just talk about how it went and then like prepare for the next day. Because I feel like, that might work.
I think doing the recap will be really important too, because that
we can
way
like get the class involved with what they thought about their points, right?
Yes.
Like everybody else could like share maybe some of their thoughts about like how they thought it went, because only those 2 like teams are going to be going, and like everyone else is just going to be the audience kind of. So we can get some audience feedback maybe, or something like that. Because that might be useful. And just again, because I don't want to rush it, because I want to make sure they have time to like think about stuff and prepare responses a little bit. So I don't know how that'll go. Because we've been talking about that. I've been talking about like how it kind of should work and like what to expect, and like kind of the thoughts and plans when I've been meeting, like what I say like to everybody, and then I go around to like the groups and talk to them like individually. So,
well, and especially since you're doing the creative aspect of that, of the real-time feedback, the real-time loop, like that is going to take up quite a bit of time, but it's also where a lot of the learning is going to take place too. So
yeah, because they can look up stuff then too. So I was thinking like I'm gonna move the desks and stuff and put them in like their teams. So like I said before, there's like 2 teams of 7, and then each of those teams is broken down into 3 sections, right?
Oh, cool.
So it's like a subgroup, like a subcommittee kind of thing, right? But when they're doing like rebuttal responses, they can talk to their whole rest of their team, maybe.
Oh, we might do that's helpful.
Like involve everybody else. So it's not just like them talking to one person and everyone else is just like sitting there, because that is when the danger happens with 12-year-olds. When you just let them sit there, that's when things go awry. So when just weird stuff happens. It's not like bad, right? It's like very weird things happen. Like they'll just like say some stuff. You're like, what? What does that even mean? What are you talking about? Why are you talking about feet so much? I don't understand what's going on. Please be quiet. I'm uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what? Yeah. That's what those words don't mean what you think they mean. So you should probably stop saying that. That's what
oh no.
Like that happens every once in a while, right? You just read something on the internet, so you just say it again. And you're like, no. Well, come here. Hold on.
What could possibly go wrong?
But I think involving the whole team that way will help them like involve everybody, because since everybody's not presenting that day, they can like still be involved. They can be an audience,
Sure,
and they can help them like give things a what to say. So that might be a good idea. Might do that. Yes. Live brainstorming, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
See in action. Dun dun dun.
It's true. Yeah. The other thing that happened this week, the really random thing was that so I had these like pillows in my classroom, right?
Okay.
Pillows, and and they, are pillows with sixth graders. So they rip a little bit, the seams bust or whatever. So sure. I was sitting there and they were all working on their stuff. And so like they were like cooking, so I was just like, all right, well, I was wandering around, talking to them, reviewing stuff, conferencing with them a little bit. Sure. And I was like, this pillow's got a hole in it. I have some thread. I'm going to fix this hole. So I was just sitting at my desk and I just like whipped out this thing and I started saying, so they were like, somebody all of a sudden goes, hey, Miss Funkhauser, what are you doing? Like, I'm sewing a pillow. And they were all like, everybody stopped. They were like, you can sew? It's like, well, not well, but well enough to make this hole go away.
Yeah. Making holes disappear before your very eyes.
Yeah, it was so hilarious. They were like, what are you doing?
That's insane.
Sewing.
It kind of is.
It was like right at the end of class. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to toot my horn. It wasn't very good. Okay, it's pretty rough. All the seamstresses and seamsters out there are going to be like, I'm not going to show you pictures. Okay,
prove it.
But yeah, it was like right at the end of class. So they left, and the next class came in, and they were like, "Hello, Miss. What are you doing? Anybody sew before?" And somebody was like, "No." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, then come here so you can see it." Now you can.
Yeah. Well, I have something to share with you.
Can't say that anymore, can you?
No excuses. Right? Yeah.
That was the moment of the week. It was like kind of funny because they were all like, there's like, hey, I gotta. What are you doing?
Wait a minute.
This happens every once in a while because I'll like dig through my cabinets and grab something. And they're like, what is that? I'm like, don't worry about that right now. Okay, you don't need to worry. But it was so funny because they were like, what are you doing? Sewing a pillow, man.
Yeah. So the pillows are back in action in full force.
Back in action, right? Disinfected. Just sprayed them with the disinfectant spray, and then no more holes that I've seen. I don't know. I looked on the rest of them. I didn't see any, but yeah, just have some needle and thread on my desk because why not? And whipped it out and literally sewed some pillows back together. Much to the shock of all of the children.
What witchcraft is that? He's repairing the very fabric.
I made sure to say, like, I don't do this well. Like, this isn't pretty. Your grandmother would be very upset by this, right? If she saw it.
I get it. I've had to employ the good old whip stitch for repairing all sorts of stuffed animals and pillows and jackets and all that good stuff. And yes, it's very much like this does not look good, but I can guarantee you this is not coming off anytime soon.
It's true. That's what I did. I did the whip on one, and then I did the old whip threw a little cross stitch on there. Oh,
what?
Weren't expecting that one, were you?
Oh,
nice X's on there. It was around the corner, so I figured that would need a little bit of extra oomph on it.
Yeah, gotta bolster it, of course.
Yeah, or something. I don't know.
Whatever it
We
is.
went with it. Saw. Said, what's going on? Gonna sew this pillow. You don't need me currently because you're doing good. So I'm gonna sew this pillow. I'm gonna sit right here, and then if you need me, I'll come over there. But I'm just gonna.
That's great.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Not what you expect. But that's it. It's anyway,
Yeah.
that's good. Good job showing them that. Hopefully that encourages
Boom. Random skill. They're like, where did you learn this? It's like, well, I learned it a long time ago. So I'm pretty bad at it. But we got it's gonna be good enough to fix this pillow. And that's all we really need right now. So that's
yeah. So, look, that's the important part. It is.
Yeah. Just a little bit. It's fine.
Oh, sounds like
that's pretty much it. Nothing to. Oh, we did go. We were last Saturday. After the hailstorm, which was fun and exciting. Let me tell you. We probably had like quarter-sized hail. Fun.
Amazing.
Conveniently, the day after, we watched a video in Science about hail. So there you go. All the kids knew about it.
Well done. Well done.
Some of the kids even did me proud. They said they annoyed their parents with all their hail facts they learned. I was like, ha! Yes. Perfect.
Well done.
Like, you know that hail has layers because it gets blown back up in the thunderstorm and refreezes? Good job. Good job. But we... After that, on Saturday, we were invited to another quinceanera.
Yes.
We went to go do that. We went to go hang out over there. Saw a bunch of people. Fun. The rain and thunderstorm made it like less hot. But that was also excellent. It was actually kind of cold.
Oh no. Yeah.
It was a little chilly. I mean, outside. Inside it was plenty.
Well,
fine.
sure.
If it would have been hotter outside, it would have been kind of miserable in there. But it
wasn't. So haha.
Yeah, because it's like a big like dance hall thing. So like and I don't think it really has air conditioning. Really, it's just like just like a big building.
Just gets hot from people being there or cooling.
Yeah, it was pretty warm inside just from like sitting with like all those people in there. It's like a million people, right? It's sort of how this works. Like you just sort of invite everybody in the world.
Yeah.
But that was fun. It was cool. It was one of my former students, right? So showed up, got to see her older brother and her parents. I hadn't seen them in a while, so that was fun. Yeah. And like just lots of other like random people that were there. So good times. So yeah. That's what we did. Stay there. We stayed a little bit longer this time, so we got to see some of the dancing. Yeah.
Oh, did you join?
No.
Okay.
Too afraid of that. Don't want to. Don't know. Not much of a dancer, right? A little too white for this. Dancing is quite bad. I don't.
You're fine. Worst that could happen.
I know. I mean, that's true, but also because these things also tend to start at like 9:30. Like, okay, well, I'm not staying that long.
Yeah.
Because I like as previously discussed, I did not have the stamina to hang with these people. It's insane. It's like all day just going for it. Like I am a weenie. Okay, I cannot. I cannot hang. Right, I'm not cool enough for this. Fine. So it's crazy, but I did get to see like some of the dancing of like the attendants and stuff. Do you like some dances, right? Some like traditional dances and stuff, and then she was like dancing with a person. So we got to see some of that. So that was cool. That was fun. Hung out, talked to all those people, and then left. But it was fun times. It was really cool. So that was our other big excitement for this week. Quinceanera time. Oh yeah.
Well, very exciting.
Yeah, it's fun.
Good.
I think that's about it, though. That's about it. Tomorrow, we're doing a like map kickoff assembly.
Oh yeah, you're testing. Huh.
Yay. This is my excited voice
Woot.
for that. Mostly, I'm this excited because somebody had the great idea to make a skit. Oh boy.
What?
They were like, what if the teachers performed a skit for the kids? And I was like, what if they didn't though?
No. You are sounding a bit gravelly. I think you need to miss this one.
Yeah, right. So I was like,
so sorry.
It's pretty chill. But it's like, it's very, yeah. Yeah. But so I'm not looking forward to that tomorrow. I have, it's like they wrote it. Well, they came up with the idea and they were like, hey, Susan, why don't you write us a little skit? So the master has been dusted off her script writing skills. It's a little short. They give her pretty short notice, so it's a little tiny. But it's basically like a bunch of the teachers are pretending to be the students, and we're going to show, we're going to act out all the ways to not be during the map test. Right? It's one of those things.
Okay.
We're gonna. So I have channeled my inner sixth grader. Right. My acting is I'm drawing inspiration from them. Right.
Dangerous. Okay.
I'm gonna sit at the table with my hood up, right, and have my phone out the whole time, and I'm gonna be talking to the person next to me because they told us to act silly that, and
yeah.
And each of us have a thing that we have to do. I have to rush through my test and be like, I'm done, and they'd be like, no, we got to make sure to take our time and right, all that stuff. And somebody's going to be asleep because they stayed up all night before, at their friend's house, right? Another person's going to be jumping because they ate sugar and energy drink for breakfast, right?
I see. Yes.
So we're going to be doing that kind of stuff.
All making sense. That's perfect.
Yes. So we're pretending to do that. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing the video of that released.
Well, yeah, I don't know about that. No photos, please. No photos.
Oh my gosh.
So that's tomorrow. So I have to steel myself for that. Okay, let's get this done and over with, and then we'll go.
Have to really get in character, right? Do some method acting.
Yeah. Method acting. I'm gonna stay up till 2:30 tonight, and oh wait, no.
Yeah, that's really. You actually do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Stay up till 2:30, and then don't eat breakfast, and then be really grumpy. Right. That's what I'm gonna do. Be an actual sixth grader. There we go.
Sounds pretty perfect. Ta-da.
That's
okay. Well, you have a lot to prepare for, and
I do have a lot to prepare for, and then I have to make sure I have enough laundry done and packed because I have to go to Aaron's wedding. Dun da da da.
Yeah. I mean, that you have a week to prepare for that, right? That's.
I know, but I'm gonna have to be what does one bring to a wedding? I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I have to plan. See, the other thing, I have to plan this out a little bit strategically because laundry day is usually Saturday or Sunday. Right? And so as his wedding is on Saturday and the rehearsal dinner is the night before, which I will need things from my laundry, right? I got to prepare.
Okay.
Make sure I have appropriate clothing that's clean to wear to that.
That's fine. No, yeah,
it does require some slight planning here.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I have to figure out what I'm doing, what I'm going to need to. So, plan that.
It's going to be okay, do I do some laundry and then plan on doing another load of laundry Tuesday, right? To make sure I got everything right. What? I'm gonna have to think about this here. So
yeah. Well, and we'll be able to in addition to that, we'll record next week, but then like we should be able to record an in-person one Saturday morning before the wedding, assuming that both of our tuxes fit.
Yes.
Because the plan is, if they don't fit, we are driving an hour and a half back to Tulsa so that we can be fitted for our tuxes. And then an hour and a half back.
So my question is, I need you to describe fit, right? Like, what is acceptable? So what is acceptable tolerances here? Back to engineering. What are the tolerances we're looking at here? Exactly?
Here's the key. Here's the key. So the real driver behind this is, as one would imagine, our father. So, because Aaron doesn't care, it's fine. So if asked, it fits, right? Just yes.
Unless it's like egregious, unless they like wrote down my jacket size wrong, in which case we'll just be Chris Farley, right? I'll just be. Exactly.
Unless it's like that, just remember it's perfect, best fit ever, can't complain. What you must do, what one must do to not have to spend 3 hours driving, right? Who knows how long the actual fitting will take. But
oh man.
So then I actually did think, because truthfully, we are going to be driving like within 15 minutes of this thing, of the shop. I'm thinking that I may tell Dad to not, just so that we don't have to run the risk of the 3-hour car ride round trip. But that does mean we're going to have to leave like lots of early. I was
going to say, does that mean, like, what does that do to our schedule?
Because
our scheduled departure time.
Because it's only 15 minutes off our path, but who knows how long the actual fitting is going to take. Like, I would budget 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So then that's an hour that we have to account for. And so if you're there if it's an hour and a half from the place, so we have to be there by 4:30. So 4. So we're at 2:30. We have to be leaving the Tux place, but we're going to plan to be there by 1:30 to plenty of time, which means that what, Tulsa? How far is Tulsa from you guys? It's what, 3 hours?
I don't remember.
I don't. So
maybe not that. Maybe a little less. Yeah.
So if you said 3 hours, so it's 11. Yeah. So that's 1:30. So we're already leaving at what? So 1:30, 12:30, 11:30, 10:30. We have to leave by 10:30 from your guys' house, which means I have to leave my place at 7. Actually, 6. Anyway, but so that's why I didn't want to do that, because I know it's going to take up a huge
chunk of time.
Chunk of time. Yes.
Plus, we have to check into a hotel also.
But also,
we have to like check in and stuff at our hotel, so that we have that place to come back to, because they won't be like, who knows what time this gets over.
Yes,
and they don't love checking you. They get real grumpy if you like show up at like 9:30 at night. Like, we're check in. Like, why? What are you doing?
Indeed. So, something to chew on. Just FYI.
Yeah. Okay. Hooray.
I know.
All right. Well, we'll hash that out later. And,
yes. Go from there. Okay.
True.
Well, right. So on that fun bombshell, enjoy your rest of your evening and have fun preparing for
you
tomorrow
as well.
Yes.
Right.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.